Hello, I am Krystal. Welcome to my Create with Krystal YouTube channel. I am an artist, an author, and a mom. And I will be posting videos every Thursday on how to paint something. This week we are going to be teaching you how to paint a castle in acrylic. And I'm going to teach you how to become an artist. And at the end, I'll give you a wonderful tip on how to draw anywhere, how to be an artist anywhere you go. And be sure to subscribe for new content and like and comment. And these are two different pictures that I've done. This one I did with oil pastels, and we're not going to paint the roses on this one, but you could if you wanted. This is the Germany castle called Neuschwanstein. And we're going to be painting this. So you need to print out a picture of Germany's Neuschwanstein's castle. And I know you're going to be like, what? Where's the template? We have to have a template. No, we don't. This is actually a castle. We're just going to do a straight on view. So we're just going to simplify it. Look how much I simplified this castle. I want you to learn how to take a picture and create something from it. I don't want, because what if there's something that you want to create? Well, I taught last week a group of ladies how to paint this picture, and everyone's picture turned out so different, so amazing. And so I want you to make one page of reference pictures. You'll need a castle, the Neuschwanstein Germany castle. You could get some roses if you want, and then print out a few clouds. Or just look on your phone at some clouds and some of these pictures, or your computer. Okay, so this is our reference scrap that we're going to be working from. This is what illustrators do. They get a few pictures and then they work from that. So I want to tell you about some of the supplies that you'll need. But my first thing I want you to do is grab a fan brush and take your Cad Red Light. This is my favorite color for skin. But we're going to do this as a ground. We're going to paint the background, so we don't want a white canvas. We want to create a painting with glazes. And so we're going to do our first glaze is going to be Cad Red Light. You can use Cad Red Medium, which is more of a red-orange, but I like Cad Red Light better. So if you don't have Cad Red Light, you could mix some Naphthol Red with some yellow, and make your own orange. So get covering that right now while I keep talking to you about the supplies that you're going to need to create this painting. Okay, this is, the fan brush has hog hair bristles, so they're really firm. I don't want you to get those smooth watercolory fan brushes. I want you to get the textured, thick hog hair bristles. These are amazing. Next, you're going to need a Home Depot chip brush. This chip brush, they're about $1 or $2, and it has really messy little feathery edges, but it also has some strength to them, and it's going to help us create our clouds and create just really good soft edges. Soft edges on our castle, on our pine trees, on our clouds. That's going to be key to making this painting look realistic and not cartoony. And then I like to have a nice square, flat or bright brush. So you can just get in and you can paint the castle and pop in some bricks and things. And then this is my favorite detail brush, the Bob Ross liner brush. This brush has a really long filament. And so when you dip in your paint, you can write and the paint just keeps flowing and flowing. You can do your whole signature almost with just one brush. It's amazing. It's just like a pen that just doesn't run out of ink. It's so fun, so fun. So, and they're around $15. These are great. You could just get, this is from Zen Art, and this is a liner brush that's also quite nice. See how it has a long filament, so it doesn't run out of paint. You might want to have a blow dryer now to dry your ground, because we want to do our second layer, but your first layer has to be dry. And we're painting with acrylic, so acrylic dries very fast. So paint thin. You might want to use a spray bottle to, you know, get some of your cad red light on and then spray it a little bit, because this can be very thin. If you paint really thick, it'll take a longer time to dry. But if you just paint thin, it might actually be dry by the time you know, I finished explaining the supplies that you will want. You make sure to have a water vessel. I like this one because it has this textured part, so you can rub your paintbrush in this textured part and the paint comes out of the brushes really well. So, but you can just use, you know, a yogurt container. And then one thing that really helps with acrylic paint is matte medium. This is from Novaplex, but you can get gloss gel or matte medium on Amazon or Dick Blick or Jerry's Artorama. And this is Novaplex 235. And this is so important because when you're painting with acrylic, sometimes you need to create a glaze, but some colors aren't transparent. So if you thin them down with water, it will look all just smeary. But if you add matte medium, then it will make a transparent color and it will take the pigment and be smooth. It won't be smeary. So matte medium is your secret tool to have a good experience with acrylic. One of your other secret tools is to use high quality acrylics. You can use Toll Paint or like Liquitex Basics, but I've had sometimes if my painting is just going terrible, it's like, it's not you, it's the paint you're using. So if you can use a higher quality paint, like I buy my paint from Nova Color and then I put it in these 99-cent containers they sell, and it's awesome. When you use high quality paint, you can have a much better experience. So try to buy the nicest quality acrylic paint that you can. In my opinion, oil paint, it's all about the same. It's all fantastic. But acrylic, there's a big range of like quality. And you want higher quality because there's so much more pigment. When you use low quality, they put tons of filler in it. And when you mix two colors, instead of looking vibrant, it looks dull and gray and just muddy. So anyway, buy high quality paints. These are my two very favorite colors from Nova Color. This is red iron oxide, and this is yellow iron oxide. And these two colors are completely transparent, and I use these as my glazes or underpaintings and also cad red medium, because you want warmth to come through. Because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be creating these other layers, and you're going to be painting very thin with the chip brush. So we're going to start now doing the sky. And so start putting in your sky, and you want it to be a gradient. So a gradient means light to dark or warm to cool. What we're doing is we're doing dark at the top and light at the bottom. So you're creating this gradient, and it's going to be a little bit medium blue all the way down to a really light blue. But you want to paint so thin, you might need to actually dry off your brush, like dip it in paint, dry it off a little bit on a paper towel like this, and then paint. And you want that red to still be seen because it will make the most beautiful lavender. This is so exciting. It would be so, I think, challenging to mix the perfect lavender, but we're just letting this red shine through like stained glass and put this blue over it, and it's going to create a magical soft lavender. Isn't that exciting? Oh, love it. So another supply that you'll need is right here. This is your reference. So you need to collect scrap or reference. And so this is, if you type in Google Neuschwanstein or Germany castle, you'll get a picture of this castle. So you're going to print out this castle and paint it. And I'm not giving you a template. You're going to learn how to be a true artist. So print out a picture of this Germany castle, print out some clouds. We are not going to paint cartoon clouds. Do not print out clouds like this. Print out soft clouds so that you can recreate soft edges, which will make it look like a real thing. And then I have some just stylized roses that I printed out so that we can throw in some roses if we want. You could also print out a few pine trees and a horse and carriage if you want. In one of my paintings, I didn't do the horse and carriage, so you could just simplify and just paint a beautiful castle. So print out some reference material or look on your phone, and so because you're going to draw a stylized version of this castle. It's really not that hard. You just pop in your windows. You don't draw like a ton. You just draw a little square, you know, or a little dot for your windows, and just simplify. Like don't put in every part of the castle. Put in a few parts and then some parts leave out, because we're just creating the feeling, the emotion of a castle. So okay, so those are the supplies that you'll want. Oh, and a palette. And my favorite palette, it's actually a deviled egg container you can get at the dollar store or thrift stores or online, I'm sure. And it's so nice because when you take your paint and you just squeeze it into the deviled egg portion, it's just so nice because you've got your paint, you just squeeze it in, beep, and it's fantastic. Look at your reference and create your sketch. So you want to draw on your castle. You don't want your castle to look symmetrical. Like what I do is the bottom is symmetrical. The bottom has, you know, the two towers with the door. But then the top part, you have a short tower and a tall tower, and that makes it look interesting because there's contrast and asymmetry. So you want to put some little cones on the tops of your towers, and then we're going to draw these beautiful little waving flags, all waving in the same direction, because the wind, when it blows, all the flags will blow the same direction. Okay? So draw on your heel, and don't make your heel the same on both sides. Make it a little higher on one side, a little lower on one side. And then you want to draw on your road, and then throw in some pine trees. A pine tree is just a straight line, and then you just throw in a little triangle, and we'll paint it later, but we're just getting a little sketch. So the pine trees, if you have a grouping of pine trees, you don't want to go 3, 3, and 3. You want to have a group of like 4, 2, and 3. And you have some tall ones, some short ones. You want to have variety. That's what happens in nature. You have short ones, tall ones. You have a bunch, you have a few. You know, you don't want a rhythm that's just boom, 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 which would be if you only had 3 pine trees, 3 pine trees, 3 pine trees. But if you have 5 pine trees and 2 pine trees and 4 pine trees, it's interesting. There's variety. That's what you want. So draw on your pine trees, and don't worry about putting in your horse and carriage or your roses. Just, you've got your hill, your road, and then also draw on your cloud. So you've just got a basic shape. It's in the sky behind the castle. It's got a flat bottom with some fluffy, round, cumulus arches, okay? So now you've drawn in your picture, and I am so proud of you because I know you're feeling nervous that you don't have a template, but you are doing this. If you can just let yourself paint and feel free, you will feel so much more confident, because you're like, I can take 3 images, 3 photographs, and I can turn it into a painting. You don't have to have a template. You don't have to paint by number. You can create the visions in your head. And just remember, like when you first start painting, it's not going to be perfect, but you're going to learn things and you're going to grow. And then the next painting, you'll remember things you learned from that last painting. And I really want to help you be able to paint the visions that you can imagine. And so by not using a template, this will help a lot. And I want to challenge you to get a critique about your painting. You can ask me for a critique, or you can ask a friend. And so a critique means, tell me what you like about this painting and what I could do to improve. And so go to someone who likes art, and they'll say, oh, I like how, you use all these colors. I think that the pine trees maybe look like ice cream cones, and could you make them look a little bit more natural with more, more dimension? Anyway, and then say, thank you for the critique. And when I went to college, to art school, they would put up 30 paintings, and then we would critique them all. And the amazing thing about it was that you didn't just learn from your critique, you learned from the 29 other students' critique. So every critique you learned and you heard like, oh, I could do that to improve my painting. Or you heard something from a person's critique and you're like, I'm going to remember that when I paint clouds. And anyway, so critiques are wonderful. It doesn't mean you're not a good artist. It means you have the courage to improve. You have the courage to keep learning. So that is a great thing to know. So step 3 is we're going to paint in the sky, the castle, and the hill with your chip brush and your fan brush. You want to use as big of brushes as you can because we're going to really get the ground covered. And we want to really get our values correct. So the sky needs to be light, and so it needs to, you don't want to go too dark. And when I first painted this painting, I made my cloud orange, and it was way too dark. And I had to go back in and add a lot more lightness because my sky and my clouds needs to hold together as a light value, and my castle and my hill needs to hold together as a medium value. And then my pine trees are a dark. And so we're using pretty much 3 values for this painting. And my favorite teacher, Leon Parsons, said, if you ever have a problem in a painting, it's probably value, 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 and then color, shape, line, and texture. So value means the amount of dark to light. So you might make areas that are supposed to be dark, light, or vice versa. So I want you to put your sky in light value. Your hill is a little bit darker, but still very light because the sun is shining right down on the hill. And so it's quite light. And then the castle is vertical, so less light can hit it. So it's medium. And you're going to create a gradient. Gradient means your light fades into dark, or light fades into medium. So you're going to take and you're going to paint light and go to medium on the castle, because light can't hit a castle as well, or pine trees as well, because they're vertical. The light, if it's on the hill, it's like the light comes down and just hits it. But if it's on the pine tree and the castle, it hits it, but it's the light is fractured, and so it's still quite dark. And then paint in your pine trees and get them nice and dark, because we can paint lighter and create dimension later, but you want to go pretty dark on the pine trees. Okay, so I want to define value for you also. Value is the light to dark, and it's like you can have in a painting 10 values, but that is way too complex. We want to just have 3 or 4 values. And value is challenging because the eye can see out in nature 5,000 different values. But Norman Rockwell, when he painted, he tried to use 2 values, light and dark. So that's really what we want to do. We want to simplify it. And when you get color involved, it kind of makes it, your values can go wonky. So just, you might want to squint to make sure that your sky and your clouds are holding together as one shape. You don't want to have a sky and clouds as 2 separate shapes and then the castle. The sky and the clouds both have to be in the realm of light. This is a high key painting, which means it's got a lot of light in it and fewer darks. I'm using a lot of vocabulary, but as I keep teaching, you'll get more and more used to the vocabulary and you'll start learning. This is a low key painting. This is a high key painting. This is a gradient that's warm to cool. This is a value pattern that is, is working. So just keep listening to the vocabulary and it's like you're getting to go to art school. Is that amazing? Oh, I'm so happy for you. That's awesome. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is you want to put in some of your details. So you want to put in your roses, the carriage if you want, the horse. And what I kind of do is I just do a little dark outline, and then as that dries, then put in some medium colors. And the horse, I didn't even look at a picture. I just kind of was like, I know what horses look like. They've got 4 legs, and you just do some wonky drawing, and then you just keep fixing it until it's like, that looks like a horse. And with the horse, the colors on the bottom of the belly are going to be reflected from the road. So if the road is kind of yellow, there's going to be some yellow, some golden brown, or some peach, whatever color the road is, on the underside of the belly. You don't just want this white horse and it's like, why doesn't this horse mesh with the environment? It's because you have to have some reflected color. And you have a white horse, so there's going to be colors reflecting onto the belly of the horse, onto the carriage. So introduce a little bit of those colors. And reflected color is amazing. Oh, I just love reflected colors. Someday I want to paint something white and with flowers all around, and then reflect the colors into the white clothes. Wouldn't that be fun? I think so too. Okay, so the last thing you want to do is your signature. And so grab your liner brush and write your signature. Please write your name and maybe even write the date, because you're going to see how you progress. Like one of my friends, John McNaughton, his son, he said, I don't want you to sell any paintings until you've done 300. And maybe you could even write number 01, and then write down number on all your paintings, and then just watch, once you get to 300, wow, look at how much you've improved. Is that amazing? So write your signature, and so we know who painted it. You're going to inspire your grandchildren. They'll be like, my grandma learned how to paint and she was a grandma. I mean, isn't that great? So I hope you will share this video, like it, comment, and ask your questions in the comments. And I'm excited to see what you paint. And don't forget to get a critique.